Alrighty guys, hi, hello. It is Monday, so we are doing our book club video, me and my friend Charmaine. You guys will see her name in the title or links in the description box. This is the final video for the book that we are reading for July, and it is Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. So last week we told you guys what the 8 questions were, so if you wanted to join in on the comments and answer the questions, this one is our final wrap-up review where we're going to answer those questions. Now I will say, 99% of the book clubs, I try to film this video the second I'm done with the book, so it is fresh in my mind. But it has been a really crazy week for me, so I did not get to do that. I finished Mr. Mercedes about a week ago. Yeah, a week and a half ago. But I've already read 2 books since, so I'm just going to put that out there. And of course, I also want to put out that this video is going to contain spoilers, obviously, for Mr. Mercedes. So if you do not want to be spoiled, do not watch this video or watch it on mute just to support the channel. All right, so number 1. It's in Mr. Mercedes. Bill Hodges initially dismisses Trelawney, I think that's how you say it, due to her quirks and later regrets it deeply. Should Hodges have been more open-minded from the start, or is it understandable why he made the assumption he did, given his experience as a detective? So I do remember, because I listened to the book, it was audio, and when she specifically says, like, oh, that ice cream man, he's been everywhere this summer, you should check him out. I thought, wow, like, there was a lead right there, and of course he's not going to use it, but I totally understand why he didn't use it. It was very understandable, because in that same like 5 minutes that he spoke to her, she mentioned like 5 other people in the neighborhood. You could tell she's one of those that, I don't know what wording you want to use, she's either extra cautious or extra crazy, and she just expects guilt from everyone. So I think it would be very normal for a cop to kind of dismiss what she has to say. It's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. If this boy is gonna talk about 5 different people that are possibly doing things to him, it makes it unbelievable. You don't think that it's possible, like, all, you know, there can't be this many people doing these evil things in this one street, you know what I mean? So I think it was very understandable why he kind of dismissed her, honestly. Could he have been more open-minded? Yes, because there you hear throughout the book that he kind of dismissed what the woman who owned the Mercedes, was her name Olivia? I don't even remember her name right now. He kind of dismissed a lot of what she had to say at times. So they definitely could have been open-minded, but I definitely understand why in that scenario he ignored what that woman said. Number 2. Brady Hartsfield seems to be a product of both nature and nurture, but he still makes conscious choices to do harm. Do you think more blame should be placed on his upbringing or his own decisions? Both definitely have a role to play. I mean, it says that in this question. It's both nature and nurture. But I think at the end of the day, you make your own choices, and you should be held accountable for those. Can his mom maybe be held accountable for some things? Sure. Because I have a feeling she knew a lot more than she let on, and that's withholding evidence. So she definitely has partly to blame, but at the end of the day, Brady chose to do those things himself, and he is the one that should have most of the blame. And I think I talked about this, I forgot what book we read. Oh, I think it was Daisy Jones and the Six. And I said, you know, because they were both addicts. And I talked about this, and I said how, like, usually a child of an addict will go one of 2 ways. And it's either they become an addict and they're like, well, it was my upbringing. It was, you know, it was bound to happen. Or you have a child that will never, ever touch drugs and alcohol because they say, well, I saw what my dad did or my mom did or my grandpa, whatever, and I don't want that for my life. So that's why I do believe that at the end of the day, it is that person's responsibility. Because there are people that see that and they're like, no, I don't want that for themselves, and they take a different path. So I do, you know, obviously upbringing does, you know, affect a lot of things for sure. But like I said, at the end of the day, you're making your own conscious choice whether or not to do those things. So at the end of the day, you are to blame. Like, that specific person is to blame for sure. Number 3, Bill Hodges' retirement is muddled with feelings of unfinished business. Do you agree he needed to resolve the Mercedes case to find peace, Or could he have moved on without that closure? I think it depends on the person. Part of me wonders why he retired. Because I feel like he was definitely itching to still be there. But I don't know the history of cops. Like, do they have to retire at a certain age? That's a possibility. I don't know. But I know people that work past their retirement age, even if it's only like part-time. Or like, for example, in the book, he talked about how a few of the ex-cops became security guards. I think he himself felt like he had to do it. But I feel like at the end of the day, you're retired. Enjoy your life. Go on some vacations. Like, but then again, I can't imagine being a cop. I can't imagine seeing the things you see and then just shutting that off. So I say all the time, I like to put myself in other people's shoes. And, you know, it's hard to answer a question because I'm not an ex-cop. I haven't seen people be murdered. And, like, I don't want to. Like, for a little while, I considered the medical field. My mom's a CNA. And I did very, very well in... I had to take anatomy and physiology in high school, and I literally got like an A+, and I did amazing in it. And the teacher even asked me if I wanted a letter of recommendation for the nursing program, because there was like there's a really popular nursing program where I live. And I thought about it for a second, but I couldn't even watch people die naturally, never mind through the harm of somebody else. I am way too emotional of a person. Like, for example, someone in my area recently, I don't want to go into too much detail, but they unalived themselves. And I have never met this person in my lifetime, and I cried. Because I can't imagine that pain that person must have been feeling. And I can't imagine the pain that family is feeling. Because I am someone who puts like my feet in other people's shoes. Like, that's the best way I could think of it. So I literally never give people a hard time. I mean, unless they're like physically causing harm for other people, of course. But you never know. Like, you have to take a walk in that person's shoes. Like, for a good example, I have a friend, and, you know, she is so happy and bubbly and smiley. But, you know, if she was a depressed hot mess, I would totally understand it. She has lived a very hard life. Her mom passed when she was young. Then she had cancer herself. She has issues with her other parent. And, so you see some people and they have a chip on their shoulder, and you might get annoyed with them, but that chip's probably there for a reason. Are there people that are just miserable? Yes, 100%. But there are people, I understand why they are the way they are, because they go through such hard lives. Life is so hard sometimes. So I can't imagine being a cop. So do I feel like he should have enjoyed his retirement and went on a tropical vacation and had some drinks and enjoyed life? Yes. But I don't know what Hodges has been through, and maybe he couldn't sleep at night. Maybe he had to solve that case. Number 4, Hodges feels a sense of redemption through his developing friendship with Holly. How important do you think it is for people to seek redemption by righting past wrongs, or is it more important to just move forward? So that is the part I mentioned earlier where he felt kind of guilt that he kind of swept under the rug how the owner of the Mercedes felt, which was Holly's aunt, or was it her cousin? I know it was a relative of Holly's. So when he develops his friendship with Holly, he feels like kind of, I guess, like less guilt over what he did. So he gets that sense of redemption. Do I feel that is important? Personally, yes. I know there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you just need to move on, just forgive and forget, have closure. That is not me. I wish I could be that person. I think I'm this person because I am so easy to get along with, or at least I feel like I am. I am so understanding 99% of the time. I mean, no one's perfect. But for the most part, you know, like I just said, I know people are going through things. I know life is hard. So all you have to do is communicate with me. And I feel I'm a very easygoing, forgiving person. But if you do something that like really, really wrongs me, I don't think I will ever forgive you, because that is just wrong in my book. Because one of my biggest pet peeves is selfish people. And sadly, I've had a lot of selfish people in my life because I am like the least selfish person in the world. I have moments, of course, I am not perfect, but at the end of the day, I really try to think about how other people would feel if I do something. And unfortunately, other people in my life are not like this. And they have just done what's best for themselves. And it has affected me greatly. And because of that, I just don't choose not to have those people in my life anymore. If you're not going to think about something that's going to hurt my feelings, then you're not worth it to me. Now, I'm not saying that they necessarily have to do things to make me happy, but at least just have an open dialogue with me, have a conversation with me. So at the end of the day, I'm very like, not revenge motivated. Like, obviously I don't want something bad to happen to them, but sometimes I'm like, okay, karma's gonna get them. It's okay. So I understand like wanting that redemption for righting your wrongs. Do I think sometimes it's better to just forgive and forget? Yes, but I totally understand why someone would want to right their wrongs. I feel like my hair looks like a hot mess today. Anyway, number 5, the gray lady symbolizes both closure and unfinished business in the story. Do you believe physical reminders of the past, like the car, help or hinder people in dealing with unresolved issues? So the gray lady, I'm like 99% sure, is the Mercedes. That is definitely a very big symbol, because the Mercedes is what hurt and harmed, and KILLED, YouTube can be kind of picky, many people. So it is definitely a symbol of like unfinished business for sure, because he's trying to solve the case. He wants to know who is Mr. Mercedes. And then there is closure, because obviously the case is solved. And when the case is solved, they're actually driving their Mercedes. So it definitely like connects. Do you believe physical reminders of the past, like the car, help or hinder people? I think it depends on the situation. Like, you guys know, I've been keeping a lot of physical things that belong to my grandmother. And I see them, and I get so happy because I think about my grandmother. And it brings me so much joy. Does it also bring me a little bit of sadness? Yes, of course. I miss my grandmother dearly. But I love having those physical reminders. So I'm trying to think in connection to this. I could see why seeing the car would be very hard. I feel like in most situations, most people would probably end up selling the car. I feel like that's normal. Like, especially like, like hit and run accidents or things like that. People don't want that physical reminder. But for some people, like I said, that whole being able to forgive and let go makes a big difference. To be able to get back in that car and take it for a ride shows that you like really like grew as a person, because I don't think I could do it, but I do think it could help people rather than hinder. But for some people, no. Some people might get into that car and have like a panic attack and they just can't do it. So I don't judge people. I think it really depends on the person. So I think for some people it can hinder them, and for some people it can help them. I think it really truly depends on the person in that situation. Number 6, the restored Mercedes plays a big role in the story. Should Olivia, I was right, it is Olivia. Should Olivia have demolished the car to move past her trauma, or did restoring it give her a sense of control and redemption? What do you think? So I think this is a lot like question 5, and it's literally exactly what I said. Like, I could see her having the car demolished. I could see her selling the car because it would be way too traumatic for her to get in that car. I could see someone sitting in that car and just imagining the accident, or imagine hearing the screams. Or I could see people get in that car and have a sense of control. I think, like I said, it depends on the person. And like, so for a perfect example, in 2018, my grandfather passed away, and I inherited his car. I had just got my license. It was just, I don't like to say the word good timing, because clearly I would rather have my grandfather than his car, but it was just the way the timing worked out. And his other 3 grandkids already had cars because they've been driving for a long time. So I was just the natural person to receive the car. It was like an older 90s car that, it's not like I was handed a Mercedes or anything. But it was my perfect first year car. I had it for about a year. It was a good practice car because I did knock off the mirror. I always say, don't get a 16-year-old that just got their license a brand new car, because you're going to hit the curb. You're going to do stupid things. You're a new driver. But I got in that car and I felt so much peace. I felt like my grandfather was watching me that first year I was driving. I literally had his rosary hanging on the mirror. And there was a time where I did almost get into an accident and it was avoided. And I truly wonder sometimes if it was my grandfather in that car with me. But now let's say my grandfather had died in that car. I don't think I would have, even, it could have been a Mercedes. And my grandmother could have handed me the keys and said, this car's for you. Your grandfather would have wanted it. I don't think I would have been able to do it. Because instead, now it's going to be tied to that bad memory of losing my grandfather. Granted, I'm sitting in his car. I lost him either way. But there's a big difference between I inherited his car after he passed or inherited the car that he died in that caused his death. So, like I said, it really, really, really depends on the person. It really, really depends on the individual. I don't judge people, though. Cars are expensive. You can't afford to get a new car. Or some people are able to move past that. Or maybe someone in the same scenario, even though it's the car that killed their grandparent, maybe they would have felt close to their grandparent. Maybe they still would have felt their spirit there. I don't know. Everybody is different. So sometimes it's hard to answer questions like this. So I don't think she should have done one or the other. I think it kind of really depends up to Olivia. Some people, I feel, when they see that Mercedes, would have thought, wow, I can't believe she didn't get rid of it. That's wrong or that's weird. But at the end of the day, it's her car. And if she had a sense of control, then there's nothing wrong with that. Number 7, Holly takes up the happy slapper in a key moment. How does her act of taking this weapon signal a shift in her character? Do you believe this change was necessary for her personal growth? Yes. So Holly is somewhere in her 40s, and she's definitely, what's the right wording? I want to say she's on the spectrum. I want to say she probably has autism, or she has some sort of special needs, and I don't know if it's her cousin that takes care of her, but somebody in her family takes care of her. She doesn't live on her own. She doesn't live like a normal 40-year-old life. And she could. It's not that she couldn't. She just allowed someone to take care of her. She was babied for most of her life. And I think that moment really showed the growth in her character. She really saw that she can step up and do hard things. That she can be a 40-year-old adult who can live by herself, who doesn't need to depend on others. And that really changed, because you saw, I think in the final chapter, it says that she finally moved out and she got her own place. So that part of the story was extremely significant for Holly. It really showed, and she didn't believe in herself. She said, I can't do this. And Hodges believed in her. And it was crucial. Because of her, all those people in that theater were saved. So, again, spoiler alert, I'm just going to put this out there in case you are watching and you don't ever plan on reading Mr. Mercedes. But basically, the man who caused the traumatic event in the Mercedes that KILLED'd a bunch of people, he is about to off himself. His mom died through his hands on accident, though, and he doesn't know what to do with her body. She's rotting away in the house, and he's figuring it's the perfect time to end his own life. So he decides he wants to go out with a bang. So he goes to this concert that's filled with women and children. The band kind of reminded me of a One Direction back in the day. A bunch of just young teenagers that are obsessed, and their mothers. And he decides to go there with some kind of BOMB. And he is going to the place and himself. And they know this is happening, so they need to stop him in a way where he won't set off the BOMB. Because if they just go up to him and try to handcuff him, he can obviously set off the BOMB. So it needs to be a very particular way to handle this situation. And Holly does amazing. I was so proud of her in that moment. I was on edge the whole end of the book. I ended up actually really, really, really liking the book. If you guys watched my other videos, I wasn't sure, because we read Fairy Tale by Stephen King, and I was not a big fan. And I really struggled with the beginning of the book, to be honest with you. I had a hard time getting into it. I kind of went into it. I said I was going to try to be neutral. But it was hard, because hearing this, being in the mind of a serial killer, hearing him talk about the things he wants to do, hearing him talk about his incestuous relationship with his mom, how racist he is towards Hodges' friend, it was really, really hard to listen to. But towards the end of the book, I did really enjoy it. I liked the twists and the turns. I didn't expect his mom to DIE by his own hands by accident. You know, I didn't expect Hodges' car to blow up. So at the end, I ended up really liking the book. I would probably give it like maybe 3 stars, only because I did struggle so much in the beginning. But I understand why I struggled. I mean, it is the mind of a serial killer. I might have said it before, I don't even know. But I don't know if it's still a book. I wouldn't, if it hadn't been for book club, I still don't know if it's a book I would have personally picked up and finished. But I'm glad I did. So that's why I'm rating it 3 stars. And you guys let me know what you thought of the book, what you would rate it, and all those things. Now the final question, number 8. If you were in Hodges' shoes, would you have kept the gun by your side post-retirement or chosen something else to represent a new start? Discuss how objects can symbolize important life choices. I think ex-cops are probably going to end up having, can I even say that word? Weapons, I'll say that, for the rest of their life. Because I know people that aren't cops that own that and keep it on with them for the rest of their lives. Because I think for them, it's not so much a symbol, it's more protection. It gives them peace of mind. And I don't, like I said, I don't put my feet in anybody, I do put my feet in other people's shoes. Me, personally, that is not something that would make me feel protected. I feel like I would do more harm than good. But I know people who do carry those around, people in my family, people in Joe's family. And if that's what makes them feel safe, that's what makes them feel safe. I don't judge anybody. You know, there's a Second Amendment right for a reason. Do I personally want to partake in the Second Amendment right? No. But I understand why other people do. Do I feel like there needs to be some regulations? Yes. But we're not getting into that. But I do feel like no matter what, because of his history, because he's an ex-cop, I don't think there would have been anything else he would have kept by his side, even to represent a new life. I think that is just something that is very normal for cops, at least as far as I could imagine. I don't have any cops in my family, so I don't know for sure. If you guys know otherwise, if you have a cop husband, a cop brother, cop wife, cop daughter, let me know down in the comments. Is that something that I'm accurate about? Are they someone who's always going to have that by their side? Because even like off-duty, most of the time they usually do have one. I'm sure there's different rules and regulations and stuff like that. Obviously, it probably can't be the same weapon, concealed, unconcealed. I don't know. I know it varies state by state too, obviously. But I do feel like that is something that all ex-cops are going to have, truly. So that is the wrap-up of the book, Mr. Mercedes. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of the book in general. Do not forget to go check out my friend Charmaine. I'm curious to see what she thought of the book. We don't usually talk to each other too much about the books because we want to watch each other's video and be a little surprised. But she did message me because she started it before me. And she said, "Oh, it's a little hard in the beginning. You're going to have to get through it. But let's try it for book club because, you know, you guys picked this book, you know." So it was a little hard to get through. Charmaine was right. But then she wrote me again and she said, "Oh, it does get better." And, you know, it makes sense. And that's what she said. You're literally in his mind. So, of course, it's going to be hard. You're going to listen. You're going to hear things you don't want to hear. But it's normal. And I think he wrote it very, very well. So, yes, I did really end up liking the book. Again, I don't know if it's one I necessarily would have picked up and read if it wasn't for book club, but that's why I like book club. Helps me try new things. So let me know, guys, if you like the book. Did you read it before book club? Because I know Stephen King is very popular. Or have you read it because of book club? If you want to answer any of the questions down below, please do. We will be announcing the winner for the next book we will be reading for August next week. And I think, a little bit of a spoiler, I think it's a suggestion that you guys picked. So, because we tell you guys all the time, I make 2 suggestions, Charmaine makes 2 suggestions, but we always ask you guys to put suggestions. And lately, your suggestions have been winning. So, the community really, really does make a difference. We also have a Facebook group, so definitely consider following along over there. I will try to remember to link it down below. Give the video a thumbs up, give it a like, share it out. It really helps the YouTube algorithm so book club can become this big, amazing community. You guys really do make all the difference. You guys are seeing this on Monday. That is my book club videos. Tuesdays and Thursdays are unboxings and hauls. Wednesday is What's Up Wednesday, so it's different every week. Friday is a vlog. Saturday is outfits of the week. And Sunday is either a self-care video. I just got an alert. Wow. That is so weird. And I swear, I feel like God's been giving me signs lately or something. I was just talking about someone who unalived themselves. And I just got an alert on my phone for someone in my past who is no longer with us saying they joined Snapchat. Obviously, it's not the same person. The person must have their phone number. Wow. Anyway, what was I saying? So I do post at least 6 days a week, if not 7. Sundays, did I say that? I don't even know anymore. Sundays are usually self-care Sunday, or I take a day off. But I do post at least 6 days a week. If any of that interests you, definitely consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell so you're notified next time I upload. If you like the video, you like me, you like book club, give the video a thumbs up. It really helps the YouTube algorithm, guys. And be safe.